I think I'm gonna do something brand new. It's not on the album, and it's not on the EP that's coming out soon.
What? Double treat.
Yeah, so this is something that's not gonna be available for quite a while yet. It's called Somniloquy. Talk to me in your sleep. Let somniloquy bring you to me. On my knees, begging please. So many things are so unclear to me. So let me linger in this dream. It is a part of me, and I will wake up in due course. So let me stay here and enjoy this lasting reverie, while wheels of time drive on perforce. So just point me north. And where was I before today? I have forgotten what it is I'm fighting for. And is it worth it all? What keeps drawing me back here? An armistice from holy war. To learn to wake up in this dream, it is the art I seek. And we can finally have our way. So let me break illusions, walls, and face reality. And we can finally have our say. So just point the way and talk to me in my sleep. Promise me my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake, I will be back. I've sealed my fate.
Yay! That was great.
Thank you.
Y'all see what I'm talking about? This like folk, this like acoustic. We got these like symbolic lyrics. It's great. I love it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I
Of
really
course.
appreciate
And so, what was the inspiration for this song?
that. Weirdly, the title for this one did actually come to me in a dream.
Classic. It came to me in a dream.
Yeah, and it's the word somniloquy is like a fancy word for sleep talking, and but like that word, I wasn't aware of knowing that word, but I just like woke up with that word in my head.
You
and-
invented it.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Gwynie Girl Radio on WZMB. And guess what, my friends? We have a special guest today. A little drum roll, please.
Splash, your favorite musician you haven't heard of yet.
Splash. No, he's splashing in. It's like water. You know what? It's the whole thing. It's the whole thing. So Splash is here today from Minneapolis. Come on, like that's far.
Yes,
what are we doing here?
the heart of the resistance.
So Splash is playing, here in our very own Greenville tonight at Alley Cat. What? And me and him, like as buddies, we will be there together. We will be trading through, to Alley Cat. And, if you're there, you're there. And
Absolutely, yeah. It's gonna be me and some local guys. I know my friend Fiverr has a very cool punk band, and they're gonna be playing there. I'll be doing some more folky acoustic kind of stuff.
I didn't know you were friends with the other players tonight. That's actually really interesting.
Yeah, just one of them. But that's when you're on the road, it can be nice to plan things around where you know people, because it can be a little bit easier to set up shows in a town that you don't have as many connections in, or have some place to sleep that's not your passenger seat on the side of the road.
Yeah, classic couch rider with the guitar walking around, house to house, couch to couch. So I was actually going to ask you about that. Like, I said you're from Minneapolis, quite far. So, like, how many towns have you been at?
So let's see. I started out at home. I went to Kansas City, and then from there I went to Nashville, and then Birmingham, Alabama, and then I was down at in Miami for a little bit for some friends were getting married and had me come out and play, and that's actually the reason I put this whole tour together around that. Then left Florida and drove here, and then on the way back I got Lynchburg, Virginia, Pittsburgh, and Fort Wayne, Indiana, and then I'll be headed home. It's a long journey.
Lynchburg mentioned. I'm actually from Virginia.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
You haven't been in Richmond?
No, not
really?
yet.
They got like a, their own popping indie music scene down there.
Oh, very cool. I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, I actually, one of my siblings used to work at a place that had an open mic night. We're not exactly in Richmond, we're right outside of it. But, like, there's always indie artists coming in and out. And there was a few, like, actually quite popular ones that would come in and out. And it's always, like, it's like what you're talking about. Those connections, like, are crazy what you can make when you're, like, just going around place to place and, like, playing different shows each night. Like,
yeah, that's kind of, as an artist, it's not exactly like becoming like a doctor or a lawyer where it's like, oh yeah, get this degree and then find some place to intern and then get a job, and like it's a little bit harder to find a path. So I've just been focusing on laying the next brick. I recorded some music, and then you promote it, and then it's like, well, what's the next thing to do? Learn how to organize a tour, because it's a little bit diminishing returns when you're doing original music. Like if you're playing a cover band, songs people know, or if you play something that people can dance to, like you can play, the same night every week in your town, people come out. But when it's original, you gotta move around a little bit and make some new friends in some other communities.
Yeah, and like with your like own original music, like how did you come to like that process of like being like, I want to make music, like this is what I want, this is what I'm gonna do?
That's such a good question. Music has always kind of been a part of my life ever since I was a really little kid, and I grew up, I was focused a little bit more on acting, and I did some musical theater, some other plays. I even ended up having a small speaking role in a Coen Brothers movie called A Serious Man that was shot in my town. But actually, after a while, I thought I was going to quit piano lessons because I didn't think I enjoyed it anymore. And it was at that time I started like teaching myself songs out of Ben Folds' books. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
Not familiar.
He's a great singer-songwriter, plays piano. And I started writing then myself around 8th grade. And it just turned out to be a much more natural way of connecting to music for me than trying to learn classical music or learn someone else's notes off of a page. And I've just been doing it ever since. And towards the end of high school, that was when I sort of realized, I was like, I like acting, but I don't think I see other people who connect with this in a way that I don't, and music just felt more like home to me, and more like the thing that I would enjoy the process of working at,
Yeah. And walk us through your process. Like, what is it like to make a song? Like especially your music is very abstract. Like, you have like a lot of lyrics with like, symbolism in it. Like, what is that process of getting to those lyrics and like making that music?
Yeah, so I really just try to get out of the way as much as possible. A lot of the time, I really relate to that Michelangelo quote about, freeing the angel from the marble, where it does feel a lot more like a process of discovery than one of creation. Like, there are a few times, where I go in, like, this is what I want to write about, this is what I want to say. But a lot of it is, just much more to it, just like words, and melodies come, and trying to see where it would go from there, and just, chipping away the next little bit, and trying, and then editing and refining, and trying to see where meaning comes in, trying to figure out what I think I'm talking about, because sometimes I don't know even once it's done.
But that's art, you know.
Yeah.
It's like the meaning is subjective. It's to each person. And it's like if that's not the meaning to you, maybe that's like maybe it has a meaning to someone else. And like even like you're the creator, but you're like this means nothing. But to someone, that does mean something.
Absolutely. Yeah. The thing I will say is I used to be very precious about just kind of waiting for inspiration to strike. And then I went to school for music, and that was kind of the first place where I got like assignments and got introduced to the ideas of prompts. And now I'm involved in some groups with some other songwriters where like someone will assign a prompt, and then you have to write, record, and post in this group a new song within the week or 2 weeks or whatever the period is. And that's been it's been really good for me to just know like, oh, actually sometimes you can just sit down and like do the thing, you know, you don't need to wait for lightning to strike. You can just sit down and do your craft, you know, and still come up with some things that you're very happy with.
Having that learning process with art is so important because I think each, like, you know, some people can be really like uptight about how they do art and what they're doing with art. And like I've noticed with myself, like I'm no singer, mind you, not at all. Don't ask me to sing. But with like crafts, I really like crafting. I like painting, and it's like you kind of have to like when you get that art block, you're just like, just do it, do it. Like, you know, the Nike slogan, might as well steal it, just do it.
Right.
But you know, with like that whole group thing, like learning how to work with a group in art can be really difficult. So I'm curious, like, how did that like go with you? Like learning to work with groups, like, you know, piano players aren't usually, you know, within working with one another in like the same way other instruments are.
Yeah, it was definitely a journey learning how to lead a band. I often joke that, you know, I wish I was just like a really good bass player, and then I could just find someone else to hire me and pay me to play in their band. But like when you're a singer-songwriter, you know, you really kind of have to do it yourself for a long time. You better also learn how to be a director, you know, and a graphic designer and a booker and do all these things. So, you know, it's definitely been a journey learning, you know, how you want to work. And also within music, there's so many different ways you can go. And we have this one word, musician, you know, but there's so many different skills within that larger field that different people can be good at. And it was definitely a journey for me of learning, you know, what kind of instrumentation I wanted, how to lead a band. I have an album out with a project of mine called The Floating Perspectives. And that was, I was very purist back then. I was like, oh, I want it to sound like our live performance, you know. And then once I got to this current project, Splash, which is more organized as like my solo project, we still, you know, recorded with other musicians in the studio.
Yeah, I've noticed that. You had some female voices on there.
Yep, that would be my friend Haley Ann, aka Ditch Pigeon, who's a phenomenal singer and songwriter herself. But that was much more of a traditional like studio process. Like I just went in, recorded my stuff, and then I worked with like a producer, and we figured out, you know, kind of built it up from there and figured out how to bring the songs to the best possible form. Because at that point, I'd relaxed a little bit of my. It needs to be exactly the same as the live. It just needs to be the best representation of the songs.
Yeah, like whatever you feel like is right, and no matter if that's like perfect by anyone else's standards.
Yeah.
And so, you know, with projects, like how many have you been like working on, like in the past?
So at the moment, I have, you know, my Splash, my solo project of sorts. I still am planning on writing and releasing some music with the Floating Perspectives, which is a little more of like an indie pop outfit. And then I have a band I'm in with a cellist friend of mine, Caitlin Benson, who's actually currently working on her own solo album. But we have a band called Paper Chain, where she does, I would say, 80 to 90% of the writing. Then we do a little collaboratively together. I also play with a band called Artificial Flowers and a band called Knife Emoji. So it's nice to, you know, have a mix of things that I'm in charge of and things that are my work and things where I can just, you know, show up and sing some harmonies and
part
play
of all
some
the
piano.
clubs.
Yeah.
So what has like been like your favorite working with a group, like rather than being solo?
It's a lot less work and a lot less pressure, you know, when you can just kind of show up. So it's like you just get to do the fun parts. Like before I was saying, I have to book and I have to make sure that people are gonna show up and listen, you know. But playing with other people, like, especially if it's a good fit, you know, if it's music that you enjoy playing, you just get to kind of do the fun part, sing some harmonies and play the music without all of the work.
Pressure to get it done. So what's been your favorite like project, or like not favorite project per se, but maybe like favorite process of a project, like favorite turnout?
Yeah. So a lot of the time in the past, I've either, you know, I write my songs kind of start to finish, at least my part, you know, whatever instrument I'm, whether it's piano or guitar or ukulele in the old days. Like I have my music and the chords and the melody all done, and then I bring it in and let other musicians I trust like we figure out the other parts together, and that's fun. And then the other way I've worked traditionally is someone else writes a song and they give me the chords, and then I figure out a piano part or some harmonies for it. But with my friend Caitlin from Paper Chain, we've started doing some collaborative writing, like I mentioned, where she'll start a song or I'll start a song, and then we'll send it to the other and like develop more from there and either finish it or send it back. And that's been a really interesting way to work. I'd never really experienced co-writing with someone else before. I think you have to have kind of similar tastes and sensibilities in order for that to work. But that's been a really interesting, rewarding way of working.
What would you say is the main difference between co-writing and like writing by yourself?
I'll give you the pro and the con. The pro is that like if you get stuck, you can just kind of toss it over the wall to the other person and let them take it from there. And then I mean, it's not even necessarily a con because this can also be a good thing, but it's you don't have the control. So I think that's both good and bad. It's like you don't have the responsibility of figuring everything out if you get stuck, and you have the opportunity to be surprised. You know what? It's all good. It's all great.
It's good. You like both?
Yeah.
That's good to know. It's good to know like you are like so like multifaceted, like I guess right word, I'm guessing, whatever. That you can do both like skills that you can write, with someone else, and like working with someone is really important. I think especially like in art communities when you really want to support everybody, and like you're saying, so many artists in so many different cities, and it's like that's important to like support each other, like supporting smart artists supporting each other. Like.
And that's actually one of the things I'm excited about for this show at Alley Cat tonight. Is it's I don't know about here, but in Minneapolis, like the different art communities, even the different music communities, can be kind of insular. It's like you have the metal music over here, and the ska music over here, and the folk music over here. And there sometimes isn't as much, cross-pollination between those groups as you'd like. But tonight we have a really eclectic
very diverse
group. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah.
And, your style of music's very, like, folky. I'm just noticing, at least with the Splash Project. Like, I was thinking, like, I think I mentioned this, like, Crane Wives, like that vibe.
Oh, sure. Yeah, Decemberists have definitely been a big influence on me.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, was that an inspiration? Like,
yeah, I mean, I was listening to a lot of them in high school.
Really?
When I first started writing, the Shins to people like Damien Rice or Brandy Carlisle, who are just really like authentic, vulnerable, honest singer-songwriters. That's kind of the school I come from.
Yeah, and the goal, like, it's the goal for your work to be that authentic, like like raw emotion artist. Like maybe not coming across that way, but like getting that out there and like letting people hear that.
Yeah, I mean, I think what music has been for me, is it's been a lot of times like a way to process different experiences or different emotions, and I've had that with a lot of the bands that I love, of like finding things that I relate to that then becomes a more beautiful, enjoyable way of like feeling those emotions that can otherwise be pretty heavy. So I guess that would be my hope too, is just that I can put something out that like people will be able to relate to and recognize themselves in, or that'll put words to something they hadn't thought about before.
Music therapy.
Yeah, in a way, yeah.
So, you've been traveling from city to city. Like, what city has been the most influential on like your style or like what your music is to you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just sort of beginning my journey on the road here, and it's been really cool to see how things work in other communities. But I definitely got to say, Minneapolis still feels like my
hometown is
my home turf. I've thought a lot about like, oh, do I need to like go to a coast or like go to Nashville to like really to a place where they have more of an infrastructure on music? But despite the kind of things we keep ending up on the news for, Minneapolis is actually a really, really beautiful city with like a really thriving arts and actually all kinds of communities. We have like Fortune 500 companies, and we have artists, and I just feel a lot of loyalty, particularly to the music scene there. And I mean, you can go out. I would say you can go out on like a Wednesday night at like 1 a.m, and there's several places, not just music playing, but you'll be able to see like someone who is just as good as anyone that you would be able to pay, hundreds of dollars to see at a stadium. I think a lot of people today, I think of music as this big meritocracy, but really it's a lot of luck and it's a lot of money,
Yeah,
and just really encourage people to go and support local artists, because there are people out there doing things that like might really mean something to you or might be your favorite thing, but
you hear that, citizens of Greenville? I know nothing about Minneapolis. I know Richmond music scene and I know Greenville music scene. and I know like some other place in North Carolina, and I know their bands and who's playing what's what. Tell me about Minneapolis and what it's like there.
Yeah, I mean, the first and only music association most people have with Minneapolis is Bob Dylan and Prince. And Prince I'll take because, you know, Prince was very, like, fiercely loyal to Minnesota. Bob Dylan, he never claimed Minnesota.
Yeah. He was not thinking Minnesota when he was making his music.
But it's, you know, it's a great place. There's a lot of venues, there's a lot of opportunity, and there's just a really strong sense of community around it, you know. And it's also a lot of, I feel like, DIY. Like when I was reaching out to some people in Atlanta, which didn't work out. I booked this tour so last minute, and I ended up getting like 8 out of the 10 cities I was targeting. So I call that a win. But yeah,
that's not bad. That's a B+.
But when I was talking to people in Atlanta, I would get a lot of responses from people who were like, "Oh yes, I manage these 3 bands," and it's just kind of revelation because in Minneapolis, it's a lot of people doing it
businessy
themselves.
Than like let's go out and like play some music.
Right. I always joke like if I win the lottery, you know, either literally or just with success wise, like I'd love to have the money to be able to invest into label because I really think there's so much opportunity there, and no one's really, you know, building artists in the way they used to.
I mean, like you can walk into like any like open mic, small town, like we're having 3 bands in our local community play tonight, and you'll find some bangers. Like
100%,
I mean, like,
yeah,
beautiful, and maybe like they're a little rough, a little like shaky, but like you go in and you're like, this kid can really play guitar. Like he can sing, he knows what he's doing. This girl, like she's bellowing this music, and like no one's saying anything. She's not popular. It's amazing, like what you can see or what you can find in smaller, like not even smaller communities, just bands that are smaller than like what you feel they should be.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of like people, like recording is very expensive too, especially if you, I mean, if you can learn to do it yourself, then God bless you. But and that's where, like, you know, to get someone who's really experienced with that and who can get you a great sounding project, like a lot of times, like that is just money, and like people just starting out, they can't afford to do that. You know, it used to be there were labels and there were A&R, they'd be going out and they'd be looking for new artists to try and
that's what happened with Justin Bieber.
Yeah, exactly. But now it's just like, oh, do you already have like 50,000 followers on Instagram? Cool. Then
media's changing fast.
Really.
And like I encourage small artists, like even if we like it or not, I encourage you, like, get out there on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like figure out how to use a cell phone, figure out how to use a camera, get some cute photos of yourself and put it out there.
Right.
Put your music out there. I've seen you keep putting your recordings out there, and that's the best you can do. It's because like that goes viral on TikTok. Like who knows what that can change for you.
Right. It does feel a little bit like throwing a message in a bottle out to sea sometimes. But you know what? If you don't throw the bottle, then definitely no one's gonna find the message. You know. So.
It's like you're digging through that sand, but you're gonna get somewhere eventually if you just keep pushing yourself. And like I really encourage it because like it's just the best you can do. I mean, you finding an interview here tonight before your show, like that's great. That's amazing.
Yeah,
like,
thank you guys so much for having me on. Hopefully,
of course, you've been lovely. So I was so scared because, you know, this is like my 3rd time like being on radio live too.
Really?
Yes, really.
Wow.
I'm new here.
Oh, I would not have guessed that. You're doing great.
Thank you. I'm gonna polish my shoulder real quick. But no, it's like getting yourself out there is just such a like big thing. I think especially for younger people, like they're so nervous about it and they can be really timid. And like just booking that appointment when like you're like, oh, I don't know, my music's not good. Like I don't want to sing in front of people. I don't want them to hear me playing. Who care? Life is short.
Yeah.
Literally, who care?
Yeah.
Just go.
100%. Yeah, I still, like, I came up, like, around the kind of change of the millennium, so I still had a little of that old, like, oh, yeah, maybe I'll get, like, discovered or whatever, you know? But, like, at the end of the day, like I was saying earlier, it's just about laying that next brick. It's just like, okay, like, you know, booking a tour, like, a year ago seemed really overwhelming, but now it's like I've done the other things that, like, lead up to that, and so now it's just, like, one thing at a time, and, you know, for me, as long as I'm able to, like, still get out there and play my music and record it, you know, at the level that I want.
Like on the same note, like getting yourself out there is important, but like you want to like remember the music's for you. Like the music is always for you. Maybe it's like for your friends and family, like people you love. It's like it's for you and your community, and like that can't be lost when you get bigger. And it's like when you're like, oh, I'm making these deals, I'm traveling around, like I'm gonna be singing at these shows. It's like remember, like have fun with it, you know. Make something that really speaks to you. And like that's something I liked about your lyrics. Like it felt like I was like listening to something like you were like let me see if this makes sense, okay? Let me explain this. It's like, you know, you're reading a poem, you're like, you can tell this poem means something to the author, but you can't place it in your words. And it's like, I can put my meaning to it, but I won't exactly know. And I like that about music a lot. It's because there's so much, like, you know, there's so much symbolism in a lot of lyrics, and it's like, I can put my meaning to it, but you will never know unless the author comes out and is like, this means this. But like the best part about it is like not having that meaning, so you can put your own on. And we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah, and sometimes even if the author like comes out and says this is what they think, I mean, you know, you can still be like, I don't think you're right.
You're wrong.
Yeah.
It's your song, I'm right.
Like, yeah, sometimes it's better when they don't. But it is interesting, you know, the relationship people have with art. Like, when you do think it means something. Like, I've had people come up to me and be like, what's that song? And they say, like, some lyric. They're like, there's definitely nothing like that, you know? But, yeah, for whatever reason, like, that's what came through to them. I think that's beautiful.
I don't even think, like, as an I didn't even think of that. Like, being an artist and then someone coming up to you and being like, you know, this song you made? I think it means this. And you'd be like, not at all, but sure, buddy. Like, I didn't even think of that, like, scenario. That's hilarious. Like, have you had that happen to you, like, more than once?
Yeah, no, a couple times. It's not even, like, the one that's about this. It's, like, they'll say, like, what they think is, like, a line from the song. And I'm like, I don't know.
I don't even remember writing that.
What are you talking about? But, yeah.
Oh, my God. I didn't, like, wow. And, like you said, when you're writing, it's, like, your own process of, like, laying it down. And, like, it's, like, you're discovering stuff. And it's, like, have you ever had, like, someone who isn't, like, a singer-songwriter or, like, another musician out of that process, like, help you in some way?
Yeah. I mean, it's not super often, but sometimes people give me like a note or like a suggestion or question or something that.
I'm like thinking like inspiration from family or friends or like outside environments.
Yeah, I did have a friend tell me about this like organization called the Sisters of the Rose, and that idea just kind of got stuck in my head.
Oh, with the whole Splash and Rose.
Yeah, it was already my logo and stuff. And,
for y'all who don't know, Splash has this whole album, and like the cover is like it's like an S, and it's like coming through the cracks, and there's all these like there's roses coming out. And
yeah, the album is called Breaking the Dam, and it is available wherever music is streamed.
Yeah,
all of the places.
all of the music now.
I also I just recorded that album came out about a year ago, a little bit more. I also, just before I left on this tour, I recorded a little EP that's gonna be much more folky and acoustic kind of sounding.
Much more than we already are.
Yeah, well, this was this was still drums and electric guitar and stuff on this. This is
so you're going like full. Like,
yeah, I got some really good bluegrass musician friends of mine to record on it, and I did just release one track of that on YouTube for the Tiny Desk contest. I don't know if you know about that.
No, I don't.
And NPR does these Tiny Desk concerts where they have like famous artists come and do like kind of a stripped down set in their office. Yeah, and so they do a contest every year where you can send in a video of your band playing in front of a tiny desk.
What's your YouTube at?
It is at splashy _songs, which is also my Instagram where I have been sharing it. So yeah, if you want to see that live video of folky songs about death. Is
oh, that's your theme of this new one?
Yeah, I mean, originally I was writing these like very traditionally. I started writing like one or two very traditionally more folky sounding songs. I was like, oh, maybe I'll do like a little EP just because I don't think these will fit in stylistically to the next album. But then as I wrote more, I was like, oh, no, this is about grief. It's not just folk songs. It's about grief and loss, and like particularly some very close friends and members of the music community that went before their time. This was a few years ago, but thank you. Yeah, but it's sometimes, I often don't tend to write about like what's happening right now. I need a little time to like process, I think, but it finally felt like time to.
I'm glad that music could be that process for you. Like, people need that. Like, you need something like, grief is different in many different ways. So it's nice to have something like an outlet that isn't just here. I'm talking. This happened to this person. Now I'm sad. Like it's like it's something different. Something like real human, I guess. So I was thinking with, Breaking the Dam. What was like your main inspiration for that? Or like, I guess, theme?
Yeah, so that was kind of an interesting time because I had, I'd been running this band, The Floating Perspectives, for like basically a decade at that point, and we had recorded and released one album. This was released in 2020, so we didn't really get to do a show for it. It was a lockdown baby.
Yeah, lockdown band.
But and I had been in a relationship with my girlfriend was also at the time in the band, and then that relationship ended, and so.
Messy band drama.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't terribly messy, but we just needed a little space for a little bit, and I was just trying to figure out who I was. I started writing. That was really it. It was over pandemic. I started writing on guitar a lot more, and before it had mostly just been piano and ukulele, and it just felt like something different. And also, I was like at a place in my music career where I was more comfortable and confident performing alone. And the Floating Perspectives was like a 7-piece band at its most. And sometimes people would be like, "Oh, can you play this weekend?" I'd be like, "Oh, that's a little last minute to get the whole band, but I can play solo if that's okay." But now, I'm Splash. You want to book Splash? You got Splash, and then if it makes
Get your
sense
own
for the
thing
gig,
going.
I'll bring a band. But I don't have, yeah.
So do you have a band tonight?
No, not tonight. For this one, I was not. Cause the wedding that I went to was at a big festival, and it's my
Which
friend Loveburn down in Miami. Yeah, and so my friend got me in so that I could play for their wedding, but I couldn't exactly bring a band and be like, "Oh yeah, you're coming on tour with me, and instead of making money, it's gonna cost you like $600 to get into
We're
this
leaving
festival."
Miami.
Yeah, right? Or you just hang out in Miami on your own for 5
Say
days.
hello to Greenville.
Right.
No, that's great though. One man show, love it. I've been to Alley a couple times. I have not yet seen a single performer.
Oh, cool. I haven't been there at all. So.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, this is my first time in
exciting moves.
Greenville. Yeah.
Really?
Mhm.
What brings you to Greenville?
Just my friend lives here, who's also a musician, and it was a convenient stop, along this tour route, and
Convenient from Miami.
I mean, convenient from Miami to where I'm going after this. To
Oh, where are you going after?
Virginia.
Oh, really? What part?
Lynchburg.
I'm really far again. Okay.
No, I was just telling you where. I was, but yeah.
Okay. I thought maybe you had already done all that.
Nope, that was it's half of that I've done, and the
We're still
return journey I'm
trudging
beginning
through,
on.
yeah, all right.
Mhm.
Do you think like after this tour you have like any other plans of like what you want to do? I mean, it's a little far ahead of like.
Yeah, I mean, a lot more touring. I still want to make it out to the coasts, and yeah, but I also kind of have a one thing at a time rule.
Yeah,
It's
like,
like
let's
I
not
can think about
overbook
that
her. Yeah.
once I'm back from this tour. But yeah, I mean, the goal is just to be able to play as much as possible and find the people who are gonna like what I do and who are gonna
Yeah, I'm sure people love small artists. Well, I love small artists.
Mhm.
I love not even small artists, independent artists that are like doing their own thing, making their own music.
Right.
It's like it's different than being under a label because
Yeah.
it's like it's them. It's like labels. They're always saying something in your ear. They're always telling you something, and it's like you can tell when it's like it's them. It's their music. It's I hope that makes sense to
Oh,
people.
totally,
Like,
yeah.
It's like it's representing what they would produce like on their own.
Yeah, it's also kind of nice to be able to see an artist you like in a more intimate setting. Like I've had some artists that I really love like blow up, and now they're playing like bigger arenas and stuff, and I'm happy for them, but at the same time a little sad for me.
Yeah,
'Cause it's
yeah.
nice to just be able to go and like be right up close,
You're like,
yeah.
I'm looking right at the singer's nostrils.
Yeah.
But no, I totally agree with that intimate thing. It's like you watching people like like I'm sure once you blow up, I'll be like, I interviewed that guy years ago, or maybe even months ago, days ago. Who knows? It's like
Yeah.
that. It's that throwing the bottle in the ocean.
Right, yeah, you never know. There's have you heard of the band Cheek Face? They're from California, but they've been kind of
Possibly.
getting a much bigger following, and he was like bored on tour and asked people to like tweet questions for advice to him, and I asked him about like breaking through as an artist, and I think what he said was really good advice, kind of stuck with me, where he's like, playing good music is table stakes, but it's really just about staying in it for as long as you can, because the longer you're in it, the more you do, the more opportunities you have to be, in the right place at the right time, which is ultimately kind of what it always comes down to.
It looks smaller and smaller when they're like it's 1 million or like 500. It's like that's a lot of people. 500 people cannot fit in the room we're in currently, and
Right.
that's crazy. Like, but with like traveling and like getting out there, like, what do you think has been like, if you could give advice like to anyone listening, like, what would you like tell them? I'm going city to city, I'm playing place to place. What would you tell them like is important to know, like keep in mind, like hold close to your heart?
Yeah, I mean, the internet is a great resource to like reach out and connect to people in other communities. I went on like Facebook groups or like Reddit pages to try and find like Greenville music scene or whatever, and they can find people that'll like connect you to bands or venues that it might be worth reaching out to. And definitely, if you're playing somewhere new, you want to get some local bands on the bill, because you can't promote to people if you don't know anybody.
Yeah.
For
you, like when you were first getting your music out there, like what were your feelings like?
I mean, it's just tough because again, there's no real map. Like there's no like checklist of like, oh, you do this and then you do this and then you do this, and like even among the people like who claim to know, how to promote music in 2026. Like they don't, like no one really knows. We're in such a constantly changing media landscape. So it's tough, it's frustrating to like try and figure out like, am I doing the right things? Like, trying to find, but it seems like pitching to playlists. And it definitely, it had, some songs that got through the algorithm and ended up in people's like Spotify daily mixes and stuff. And it just feels good to hear people out there. But I'm more excited to be touring and like meeting people face to face, because at the end of the day, there was still a distance there where it's like, seeing, higher numbers than I'd ever seen. But at the end of the day, it was also still numbers on a report. It wasn't like people I was engaging with or who were like connecting with me via social media. So it's like nice to know they're out there. But I think at the end of the day, it's, as an artist, it's just as much about like making a longer term connection with someone as it is about just having them do their songs.
And like that's what I love about art, is like the connections with people. And like with our media landscape today, it's like, again, like we're looking at numbers on a screen and not like people's faces reacting to your art. And it's like being an artist and seeing someone like make a face or like some sort of expression, it's like it feels good, because like whether that be negative or good, it's like they're seeing it, they're reacting, and it's like I'm making them cry with my music, but it's like at least they're hearing it and they're going, wow, this is like
I've made some people cry before.
Oh really? I wonder like how that would be, like you're like seeing your heart, you look down and there's just someone like falling snot all over, going down their shirt, like what do you do? Like what do you do?
I think my favorite thing though is like because you can always tell the difference. There's sometimes like when people come like, oh yeah, good job, and it's just like whatever, like just a pleasantry. But then like you can always tell when it's the people are like, oh wow, like that was really good, and like
What has been your favorite moment on stage?
Oh man, probably the single release for my first single, Under the Rose, off the album that off Breaking the Dam that I put out last year. When because we recorded it track by track in the studio, and at the single release was the first time we'd played it all live together with the same band that recorded on the album. And also there's a really cool music video for that my friends Nat Alistair and Becca Melstrom made for me. That's all shadow puppetry and projection, and we decided to play it live with the video. We didn't have like a click track or anything to keep us lined up, so we just had to do our best to stay with it, and it like lined up perfectly, and it was just a magical moment.
Like it must have felt like, as much as like I'm being like push, push all that content out, it's like pushing the content out also involves like interacting with people and fans. That's how you get longtime fans. It's like, I remember when I saw him back at that show and like somewhere in my hometown, and that was great when he came by. It's like, I'm waiting for the next time he comes by. That's how you get them. Like it's like something like that. You just gotta have that like magical moment click,
Yeah, 100%. Anyone who wants to be aware of what I'm doing, Instagram is a good place at splashy_songs. Or I have a mailing list on splashysongs.com that I don't use a ton, but I do also post all my lyrics on the website. So if you want to look up the official lyrics,
you want to know, you want to sing along, So I think that is us signing off for right now. And
thank you so much for having me.
Of course, you've been great, and this song was great. Catch me at any local music scene. I'll be there. Your girl Gwynie Girl is signing out. Say bye, Splash, everybody. Bye.
Bye.